France's president, Emmanuel Macron, is under fire for his disgusting comments towards African nations. He said that African leaders forgot to thank France for sending soldiers to African countries. He really thinks that these countries wouldn't be free today if it wasn't for France's help. But many African leaders strongly disagreed with him. Chad's foreign minister pushed back on these paternalistic comments, saying that Macron's words showed his contempt for Africa. He reminded everyone that African soldiers fought and died to help free France during World War II. Chad's foreign minister stated plainly, French leaders must learn to respect the African people and recognize the value of their sacrifices. Senegal's prime minister also reacted to Macron's statements. He stated that France has neither the capacity or the legitimacy to ensure Africa's security and sovereignty. He also added that France caused problems in Africa before, like their role in destabilizing Libya, and says that France has no right to act like a hero. For many years, France had military bases in Africa. France didn't offer the protection they claimed they did. Instead, they pillaged and siphoned resources for their own material gain. Now, countries like Mali, Chad, and Niger are telling French soldiers to leave. They want to make their own decisions and work with new partners that benefit them, not steal from them. It's clear that France's time in Africa is ending. Macron's words only made things worse. Instead of blaming African leaders, maybe France should take a look in the mirror.
Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Robbie Masaga. Today I want us to discuss about a very sensitive yet important topic about the recent remarks of French President Emmanuel Macron when he said that Africa is very ungrateful and if it wasn't for France, Africa would be poor. Ibrahim Traoré, however, came with a bold response, and that is what I want us to discuss today. Let's watch what they both had to say here. Then let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are about this particular topic. Remember to subscribe, like, share as well.
One part was our commitment to fighting terrorism since 2013. We were right. I think some have forgotten to say thank you, but that's okay. It'll come in time. I'm in a good position to know that ingratitude is a disease that cannot be transmitted to humans. But I say this for all the African governments who have not had the courage, in the eyes of their public opinion, to bear it. None of them would be in a sovereign country today if the French army had not been deployed in this region.
When I recently consider Emmanuel Macron's remarks about Africa, every conscious African should therefore quickly understand everything he has told us and what it signifies. General Chiani recently spoke of a change in tactics or strategies of the French forces in Africa. I think he has come to confirm it. It is about dissolving and keeping a core presence, and Emmanuel Macron said it so well that we can only thank him for this sincerity, even if some wanted to pull the wool over the eyes of their population. But reality eventually catches up with them too. They will not leave certain countries. They have simply dissolved the structure. You will no longer see them in bases, but in embassies, they will be there. They will form security companies to secure their companies that exist in these countries. But the soldiers will be there. But you will no longer see them in uniform gathered in bases. That's all it means. They will reorganize, but will be there. He spoke of politeness towards certain heads of state by giving them the priority of announcing the break or the departure of French forces. This matters little to us, one might say, but all we know is that if you want a break with these imperialist forces, it's simple. You denounce the agreements. Everything starts there. I think the example of Chad in any case is palpable. They started by denouncing the agreements. Otherwise, if the agreements are not denounced, just saying that the bases are leaving, we have done nothing, because the problem lies in the colonial defense agreements that have been signed since independence. The most dangerous thing is not what you see in the bases. The most dangerous thing is the military advisors. Military advisors exist in all these countries. They also existed in Burkina until 2022, until we took responsibility. And who are these military advisors? They are the ones who are supposed to implement France's policy here. They must work to make our armies very weak, so that France can always have the argument of existing here under the pretext of comparing us. They had succeeded. Our sentinels were thus standing guard with sticks. That is what France wants from our armies. When we reach this stage, we have no choice but to want them to come and settle. But the Burkinabe army managed at one point to get rid of the military advisors. Unfortunately, I think that in 2019, after the operation in Tapoa, where these French saw that the Burkinabe army still had the capacity to react to terrorism, they called the chiefs of staff in France. They instructed them to reinstate the military advisors throughout the structure. Well, he did not accept, but upon returning to the country, the politicians instructed him to accept the military advisors, and that is where the military advisors returned to the Burkinabe army in 2019, with all the consequences that we know. The army was disappearing in the years 2020 to 2021, and moreover, this is the moment when many soldiers had to desert, because there was no more hope. We were collapsing. That's a little how they work at the general staff of the armies, in all the army general staffs, in the schools. It is they who are supposed to dictate the policy of our army. It is they who tell us how many to recruit, when to recruit, and what to do with them. They are in the schools to tell us how to train them, and so on. As long as these military advisors are there, you are not independent. Your army will only have the appearance of an army that will be there doing parades, circus acts.
First of all, to me, this sounds like a joke. His claims are very disrespectful and dismissive. How can he forget that it's because of Western nations, including France? That is why Africa is where it is. These people have built their wealth on the backs of Africans. They've exploited from Africa for years. So why would he say that when he knows? It's not like he's not aware. He knows, because France is one of the countries that have exploited from Africa. So why would he come with such claims? Let's talk facts. Africa is the richest continent in terms of resources. Gold, diamond, oil, name them. Africa is the richest continent, and these people have taken advantage of Africans, especially Africans who are ready to be, to be deceived, Africans who are ready to be controlled, especially our puppet leaders. These are the ones who have sold Africa out to these Western nations. And this person here comes out and publicly, start claiming of things that are not right, when he knows that whatever that he's saying is not true. In fact, ask yourself, who should be grateful to the other? Who needs to be grateful to the other? Because you go to someone's continent, you go to some people's countries, you exploit, then you want them to be grateful because you stole from them. It's a joke. It's like you're mocking those people. You're mocking them. You've come, you've stolen, we watched you, we didn't do anything. Then you go out there just because we've now opened our eyes. We don't want you to keep, taking advantage of us. Now you want us to be grateful for your presence in Africa. And that is why I admire leaders like Ibrahim Traoré. He's not afraid to call out this kind of exploitation. He's ready to stand and fight for Africa's dignity. He's making it clear that Africa deserves respect. These are the kind of leaders that Africa needs. We need many of them. We need a good number of leaders like Ibrahim Traoré who can fight for Africa. Not just let people to come from outside and exploit from them. It's not right. Africa is full of puppets. Leaders who are being led, leaders who are being told on what to do. Just because, these people are ready to give them a few coins, they are ready to sell out Africa. Ibrahim he's very tough. He's very strong. He goes by what he believes that is right. He's not being remote controlled out here like majority of these leaders we are seeing out here. And that is why Africa is poor. Africa is not poor because we are not grateful. Africa is poor because you're exploiting from us. You're stealing our resources that should be helping us. How many youths in Africa right now are jobless? And most of these Western nations, they can't even employ our youths. They don't. Even getting visas to these countries is a problem. It's a big problem. And you're here busy saying how ungrateful Africa is when majority of our people are living in poverty. I believe your kids are not suffering like kids in Africa because you came here, you exploited, you have wealth right now. So your kids are living a very lavish lifestyle. But our kids back here, they are struggling. Some of them can't even afford to go to school. They lack education. Some of them have nothing to eat. And I do blame most Africans. We are very good-hearted. We are very nice people. We welcome anyone. Anything people tell us, we do it. When they come, we don't say anything. That is why majority of our kids are struggling. Majority of youths are struggling. Well, this is what I think. If these so-called developed nations were clever enough, they would focus on fair trade, have a mutual beneficial partnership with Africans or African countries. Imagine how Africa and European countries would be rich if we had a partnership instead of this one-sided exploitation. Instead of them exploiting from Africa, we should have something to, exchange. They give us something, we give them our resources. We would also develop our own countries instead of them using lies, using tricks to come and exploit from Africa. It's not right. How do you feel about it? The moment deep down in you, you know that I stole this from someone. How do you feel? And that person is struggling, not because they didn't have, because you stole from them. How do you feel? You're the ones who need to be grateful to us. You should be treating us well because you know what we have. You know what we can offer. Instead of always blaming Africa, always calling Africa poor, when you know well that Africa is not poor. You should be grateful for what we have because without us, some of these Western nations, they wouldn't be where they are. They are because of Africa. And you'll still always call us poor. What I would say to Macron is, instead of you always accusing Africa, calling us ungrateful, you need to sit and reflect. Ask yourself, what role does France have in the current situation in Africa? That is what you need to ask yourself. Maybe there's something you're doing that's making Africa poor. That is what you need to ask yourself. We don't owe anyone gratitude. We don't. We can't start being grateful to people who are stealing from us. It's very unfair. It's actually mocking us. You can't go out there stealing from people, then you want them to be grateful for what you're doing. You're not doing me any favor. You're actually making me poor by stealing from me. So why should we be grateful? You need to ask yourself, where has France gone wrong? What can we change? Which partnership can we have with African nations that can, benefit both Africa and your nation? That is what you need to do instead of always blaming Africa. And our African leaders, it's high time you need to wake up. Just like Ibrahim Traoré, you need to act up. This is your continent. The moment it goes down, you go down as well. This is the place where your kids will want to settle. You might have properties abroad. You might have, you might be wealthy. But in future, your kids will want to come back and settle in their own land. So when you make Africa go down, remember that you're also going down with it. It's very unfair because people who suffer are Africans, not people from Western nations. It's us Africans. Look at Congo. What is happening in Congo right now? They've brought back the execution method. They've brought it back and youths are being unalived each day. We will blame them for committing this kind of crimes, but ask yourself, why are they committing those crimes? It's because our leaders have failed us. They are not doing what is supposed to be done. Congo is a very rich country, but just look where it is today. Look where it is because we are letting people come, exploit, and we don't benefit anything. Those kids who are committing those crimes in Congo, they need to be in school. If they had education, they wouldn't be doing those things. They are doing them because they are not educated. They lack education. They lack proper guidance. And like I said in my previous episode, I'm not trying to condone their behavior, but you need to sit and ask yourself, why are young people committing crime? There must be something that our leaders are doing wrong. And that is what they need to change for our continent to, be a better place for every person in Africa. Guys, what do you think about Macron's remarks and Ibrahim Traoré's response? Let me know in the comment section. Tell me, do you think Ibrahim was right to say whatever that he said? Let me know in the comment section, and remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time,